Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video, I want to share with you a little bit more about my experience with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, since I was using it for the past 2 to 3 weeks when I was traveling in Barcelona. Now, the whole reason why I wanted to test this out is, when I'm traveling, I didn't really want to carry along a super huge camera, the one that's recording this video right now. I also didn't want to carry along my sort of like digital, more compact camera because it still carries a lot of weight. But instead, this is the option that I went with because I personally think the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is actually capable of replacing your camera when it comes to those very quick photography. Let's talk a little bit about this device here. Now, first things first, let's go over very quickly what we have here in terms of the sensors. Now, without getting into too many numbers, what we have at the back here is essentially your main sensor with OIS. You also have your 3x telephoto zoom, you have your 4.3x 200 megapixel telephoto lens, and you also have another ultra wide sensor at the back. So you're pretty much covered regardless of what kind of shot you want to take, from it being an ultra wide, a standard photo, a telephoto, zooming even further. Everything is covered with this set of sensors. Now, another key highlight that we have here is that this is still using that 1-inch sensor, which a lot of flagships today are already not using them, but it's good to see that Xiaomi is still using it on the 15 Ultra. Now, one final thing before we jump into the photos, the lens itself also comes with that brand new updated Leica Samilux optics that promises to give you even better, higher quality images. So yeah, saving all that, let's jump into the photos and take a look at them right now. Now, first up, in terms of the photos coming off the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, just like on its predecessor, they don't look over-processed. So that's one thing that really keeps everything very nice, very fine looking. It doesn't over-sharpen, there's not a lot of noise, and it just looks like pictures coming off an actual camera. So that's great. Now, moving on to the second point here, the color tuning. So if you've used a Leica powered or engineered smartphone before from Xiaomi, you would know that the photos do have a specific kind of color tuning to it. It may not suit everyone's likes and needs, but me personally, I think it looks just fine. There's two options that you can go for over here. Number one is authentic, and you can go for the vibrant. Now, naturally, vibrant is going to come off a bit too saturated for my liking, so every single photo that you see on the video today is actually the authentic version. Now, moving on to the third point here, pictures of people has also been improved. So I noticed that when taking portraits or just photos of people in general, the skin tones looks a little bit more natural. The entire photo doesn't look like it's over sharpened. And if you just go into the settings, sometimes when you take a photo of a person, the phone can be programmed to actually increase or overexpose the entire photo. You might notice that, but the 15 Ultra actually allows you to control all that and make the brightness center weighted. That means that when you take a photo of a person in it, everything looks very balanced, and I think that's a very strong point for the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Now, moving on to the next point here, the zoom shots are actually very good. Yeah, so the zoom shots here are actually great, and you might be wondering, why do you actually need two of those telephoto lenses? Well, the answer is pretty simple. If you're not going to zoom very far away, you just want a very quick portrait, you can use a 3x zoom. However, if you want to go a little bit further, you want to capture even more detail, you can use that 200 megapixel 4.3x zoom, which actually does a great job at retaining a lot of quality. Now, one really awesome thing that I found out about the zoom lenses on the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is that the white balance is actually kept very consistent from 1x, 3x, 4.3x, and so on. So you have a very smooth and natural kind of zooming experience when you're using this device. It's not just for photos, it's for videos as well. Now, moving on, I did mention here that the videos are also very stable. Yeah, you do have your OIS on board. If you're going to be doing like short vlogs and just shooting videos of moving life and all that, the stabilization is good enough to make sure that everything is stable and good enough and very usable. Now, one final thing to mention about the cameras is actually in terms of the night photos. Now, for night photos, I think again with that 1-inch sensor, Xiaomi is doing a fantastic job here at keeping noise to a minimum while being able to absorb in even more light. Now, what has been improved is the amount of glare and ghosting. So let's say you're shooting like street lamps or just streets with a lot of light sources coming in here and there won't be a lot of reflections, there'll be minimal amount of glares, and you can actually get a very clean photo even at night. Now, that's just in terms of the cameras and the pictures that we can take, but let's move on and talk a bit about the processing and what else you can do with this stuff. So obviously, you guys already know that the phone itself is powered by HyperOS 2, and with that, Xiaomi has introduced a couple of AI features, pretty cool and useful ones. So we actually have your AI Enhance, your Expand, Erase, you can remove reflections, change the sky, but the one that I particularly like is obviously AI Expand. Now, the reason for that is because sometimes you are in a very tight corner corner, but with AI Expand, you can actually get a little bit more of the surrounding that's actually generated by AI, and I found that it's actually quite accurate in terms of the pictures that I tested it out from. Furthermore, it's also worth highlighting that all these processes are done very quickly. In fact, taking photos, the shutter speed is also very quick, and that's because this phone is being powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is again a top-level flagship processor that you can find in the market today. Now, let's move on and talk a bit about the phone's design and feel. Well, I think you can see for yourself how the design looks. What we have at the back here is actually sort of a two-tone kind of thing, where this side, the back portion, is sort of like a vegan leather. It feels very smooth, and I did notice that it didn't offer a lot of grip. And the other side here, this silver material here is made of glass, so it's actually very premium feeling. It looks great. I love this dual tone kind of combo because it kind of reminds me of my own digital camera. It feels great in hand. I also had a chance to test out the photographer's kit, which actually makes things very interesting because once you slot this in, you're going to get a photography experience that's very similar to a camera. You know, this particular portion here offers a lot of grip when holding, and it also doubles up as a backup battery pack. So very handy. You also have a knob and actual shutter button at the top, and it works very well. Last but not least, we're going to talk a bit about the display. Now, the display itself, if you're going to be taking a lot of photos, naturally you would want your display to be able to show very natural and true colors, and that's what you can get here because Xiaomi actually has this original color pro mode, which is what I set my display by default because I don't want my photos to look very vibrant on my screen, but it might look a different color on other people's screen. It's also worth mentioning that the detail is also very sharp, it gets bright enough outdoors, and it's very smooth with a 120Hz display. Just in case you're wondering about durability, Xiaomi has added in their Shield Glass 2.0, so it's a little bit more durable towards scratches and drops. But yeah, I did not drop the device. Actually, I did drop it once and there's a small ding at the back, but the display is still fine. Ultimately, what do I think about the Xiaomi 15 Ultra? I think it's a fantastic device. It's offering you one of the best photography experience that any smartphone can offer. You know, Xiaomi is really putting in a lot of effort to make this one of the best photography phones in the market. If you are into photography, or if you are also into video for that matter, you want to look for the best in the business, the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is definitely something that you might want to check out. And if you have any further questions about the device, feel free to leave a comment down below as well. Once again, thank you for watching today's video all the way to the end. I hope it has helped you out in some way or another, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Do take care, stay safe, enjoy your photography, and bye bye.